The time is 6 p.m. Before we begin, I kindly ask all council members to silence and put away cell phones. If you need to conduct personal business during the meeting, please make a motion to recess. For those participating by phone, please keep your device muted unless speaking. When speaking, please remember to state your name for the benefit of those viewing the live stream. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast live. The camera is located above the clock at the back of the council chambers. Our proceedings follow Robert's Rules of Order, an ordinance of Wasilla Municipal Code 2.04.090 to promote an orderly and respectful meeting. I respectfully ask the council to observe the following rules. Please seek recognition before speaking. No member may speak more than twice on the same motion without a vote to suspend the rules. No member may speak a second time until all who wish to speak have done so. These guidelines help ensure fairness, efficiency, and mutual respect in our discussions. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Councilmember Cottle, are you online? She's not online. I do expect her perhaps to join later in the meeting. Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Councilmember Crafton.
Here.
Councilmember Vlock.
Here.
And Deputy Mayor, Councilmember Rubio.
Here.
We do have a quorum. All members are with us in chambers except Councilmember Graham, who is participating telephonically. Councilmember Cottle is absent and excused. I do expect her to join the meeting telephonically.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Schmidt, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item of business is the approval of the agenda. Council, before I recognize any other members, I would like to propose moving resolution serial number 25-26 and AM 25-43 for new business to immediately follow item 6, commission and agency reports. Additionally, unless objection is raised, I will relinquish the gavel to Councilmember Vlock prior to the consideration of these items. As stated in AM 25-43, Big Dipper Construction, a company owned by my father, may serve as a subcontractor on the turf replacement project. Under the definitions provided in WMC 2.01.010, I am considered to have a financial interest, conflict of interest, in Big Dipper Construction, as the definition of immediate family member now includes a parent. Are there additional changes to the agenda, or are there other conflicts of interest to declare? Is there objection to?
Madam Deputy Mayor, this is Mr. Graham.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to move 8.3.1 and 8.3.2 to new business.
Thank you, Stu. Is there objection to approving the agenda as amended? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as amended by unanimous consent. There are no special orders of the day. We are now at commission and agency reports. Direct report from the police department. We will now hear from the Wasilla Police Chief.
Good evening, Chief William Rapson, Wasilla PD. This is, I guess it's been since April, since the last time we provided an update. Some of this is an update from April and some of it's cumulative, especially when we come into stats of kind of what's going on with WPD since then. So our current personnel update is we have 3 open vacancies as of July 28th. We just hired a lateral out of Oregon with about 8 years of experience. He welcomes us up here. He's just kind of going through his onboarding process right now. Our current job hits application has about 4,300 hits on NeoGov. And that is since April 2025, we've had 27 applicants, and of those 27 applicants, we've hired one. We just recently had 2 applicants in there. One failed to show, and then one did not pass the written test, and that kind of seems to be the common denominator of the quality of applicants that we're getting since April, which leads us to 3 open vacancies that I've had for well over a year now. I'm optimistic that on the next council meeting on August 25th, that we'll bring forward our contract negotiations that will be presented to you guys for your input. I am optimistic that it gets us competitive, and there's some great changes in there that I'm happy to see and kind of happy to move forward with. With that, we've had the retirement of Sergeant Ridge, which you guys may have seen in my weekly staff meetings. He retired on May 1st after 30 years in law enforcement. He was a huge loss to the department, and we just recently promoted Officer Caleb Moyer to take his replacement, and he is currently doing some onboarding right now to get kind of caught up and doing those supervisor skills. And looks like he'll be assigned to the weekend night shift is when he gets kind of kicked loose in doing that. With that promotion, Sergeant Moyer was our detective, and since then we have started our detective promotions are currently underway, and we have 2 applicants that will start doing some oral board and some processing with that. For just a kind of a recap, is that this is our new website. So if you know anybody that's interested, please direct them to this website. We just got done revamping it, and again, I'm optimistic by next next council meeting on the 25th that we'll be able to plug in our contract that will I think is very beneficial for both parties and very competitive to start getting those vacancies filled. Some of the statistics that we've had, this is cumulative from the start of January 1st, 2025 until now. This is kind of a running number that I anticipate until I see you guys next time in December, that I'll have a cumulative average of kind of what we did yearly. One thing with statistics is that I can break it down pretty considerably, so by all means, if you guys want some input on some statistics that I may be able to pull, please let me know. And I can include these into the PowerPoints, but these are some of the highlights. Is that since January 1st, 2025, we've had about 15,300 calls for service. Of those, we had 43 assaults, 235 disturbances, multiple trespasses, welfare checks, drugs, about 3,700 traffic stops, which primarily those are going to be from our grant over time that we get from the Alaska Highway Safety Officer and any kind of special detail that we have. Of those, we had 82 DUIs, 726 ready reports, did 320 arrests, 209 warrant arrests, 103 summons. Our code compliance has 740 calls for service, and of those, about 241 were animal related. Another thing that to keep in mind with the code compliance is that there's a considerable number of follow-up that needs to be done, especially when dealing with animals and appeals and tickets and finding owners, so it takes up a considerable amount of time. One of the things I kind of left out was the MCT, and MCT is the Mobile Crisis Team. And since then, what we've partnered up with, and you probably heard me talking about this before, is that we partnered up with True North Recovery that do the Mobile Crisis Team. You've probably seen their Jeep kind of going around town. Over the course of the years, we've had a significant number of mental health calls. And we partnered up with them after I've seen it being firsthand when I was out of state temporarily down in Colorado for the last 3 years, to give people that are having a crisis or having that mental health situation going on, to get them in touch with people that can actually be able to help them. Since the start of January, they've responded to 193, which we've been able to assist with that, and a lot of that goes hand in hand with the welfare checks. The idea behind is that we try to play multiple hats in this job, but ultimately when it comes down to it, we have 3 different options, and it doesn't really necessarily give them the resources that they may need. And either we try to, somebody that may need a lot more attention with our calls for service, and the amount that my minimum staffing hasn't really changed since 2006. They're very time consuming, and when that happens, the individual doesn't get the treatment that they need. So with that, I kind of invested into the MCT and had a great working relationship with MCT to get them into people in there that be able to help them out. And the idea is that if I can get them in touch with professionals in that field, then they can clear up my officers that can start responding for calls, and the individual will have a case manager, can get the treatment. And you know what, they also build a rapport other than somebody in the uniform and a badge, that they may be able to spend some time with them and get them into the resources that they may need. And it's been, I feel like, a very successful program, and I'm honored and you know, excited to continue on with that relationship as we move forward.
Madam Deputy Mayor. Sorry, before we move away, Chief.
Yeah.
What does MAV or MVA stand for? Sorry.
Motor vehicle accident. So as we break those down to 410 of those, 247 damages, 37 injuries, and then 97 private properties. Knock on wood, we haven't had any fatality since January 1st.
And then another question, or
Yep.
two more, I should say. Do we know how many, or another statistic you'd asked, speeding tickets? Because I know you and I have discussed how much speeding is a problem on the Parks Highway.
I can certainly break that down. It'll just
I'd
take me a
love to
little
see
bit to kind of gather that data, but I can get it through our tracks and break those down to what of those citations that we have, which ones are those speeding, or kind of break down to whatever infraction that we may be writing. So, but I can definitely look that up for you.
Cool. And then last one would be, I don't know, I'm a data guy, so I'd love to see this compared to last year. I know you'll be doing this more often, so it'll be one of those things you could just plug it in. Comparative, what are we looking at right now versus the same time frame last year, so we can see if numbers are up, numbers are down.
When we were creating this PowerPoint, that was the idea, is kind of compare 2025 to 2024 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
2024 for calls for service, that was about 23,000, and we're on par to kind of surpass that. But to get a breakdown, I'll have that on my December update as a comparison.
Awesome.
Because other than, you know, for maybe 28 days, it'll be pretty close to what 2025 will be. Short of 28 days of stats, but it's pretty close to kind of give you a good indication kind of where we're looking at and how we're gonna go forward.
Thanks, Chief.
Madam Deputy Mayor,
Councilman Stu?
Graham.
Graham, sorry.
That's okay. So, at the 6:08, Kathy Cottle joined the meeting. We're on the same phone line here. And also, I do have a couple of questions for the chief.
Yes, sir.
So, Chief, you said you have still have 3 open spots after your new hire. Is that 3 spots plus the 1 new spot that we authorized, or is that 3 total?
That's 3 total, Claude, and the new one that we were at council was able to approve on FY26 budget.
Okay. And also, Chief, I know you don't have this number right off the top of your head, but if you could work with Mr. Leonard and figure this out for the next council meeting. I'd like to know what percentage of the budgeted amount was spent on personnel for salaries, and what percentage of the budgeted amount was spent on overtime. So I know you don't have that right in front of you, but if you could get that for the next council meeting, that would be great.
Sounds good.
That's all for me. Kathy has no questions.
Then this is kind of highlighting, am I going forward here? I thought we already talked about it. Sergeant Ridge, you know, he retired. He's still in the state, doing farm. I think he opened up his own farm. He's got cows, pigs, all those fun stuff. So we wish him the best, and he's sorely missed around the PD. Again, this is our new hire, Mr. Piper. He has come from Oregon. He holds a master's degree in biblical studies. He worked Hillsborough County Police Department in Oregon. He departed in good standing, and he has a significant amount of training in the Special Victims Detective, where he was dedicated to working in human trafficking cases. So we're excited to have him back. He was in Alaska when he was in the military and lived up here on J-Bear, so he's familiar with Alaska, so we don't need to talk to him about the climate or the commute, as he will be commuting in. This is our dog, as you may see here before, is Canine Senta. She was graduated from the canine school that was in Tennessee back in late November. Since then, they both have been working pretty close as a team, partnering with our retired Echo and Officer Buzzard, and recently just received their annual certification the first week in June, being signed off. So they are working together as a team moving forward, and working when they can, and still a lot of training involved, kind of going forward, but it kind of gives you some statistics of kind of what they've been doing. I anticipate as she gets more experience, as they both get more experience and more comfortable with each other, those numbers are gonna go up significantly, as they typically do with a new dog and a new handler. I recently applied for the renewal of our JAG grant, and if you guys are familiar with it, our JAG grant is for our drug investigator to be assigned to the Mat-Su narcotics team. I'm anticipating that to be renewed again. I don't anticipate any hiccups with that. But their quarterly reports, what they're required to do, kind of gives you a breakdown what the small team out here in the valley is doing with the amount of drugs that are out here in the valley. And you know, we can definitely break those down a lot more, but just to kind of give you the new terminology of what I've seen being used nationwide is about doses. I don't know when or where that switched over from dollar amount or grams, but now it's turned into fatal doses or amount of doses. But you can see the fentanyl, and just this quarter was 18,000, and it was about 2,000 user doses. We've seen an uptick in methamphetamine and fentanyl, where I believe the state troopers have put out their statistics where you're seeing a reduction in heroin and cocaine. But just in this quarter, we've had about $45,000 in currency. And when I say we, this is a team effort with DPS and our investigator assigned to that unit out here in the valley. But it kind of breaks down what patrol and the SDU unit is doing out here just for this quarter. Needless to say is that they are very busy. We still host the Mat-Su Explorers program. I didn't get an updated number, but they are instrumental in helping out with a lot of community events out here in the valley, which they have DPS represented with the state troopers and with Palmer PD and with Wasilla PD. We host it at the police department. If you're not familiar with the Explorers, but their kids age from 14 to 21, that they need to pass 7th grade. The applications to be picked up at WPD or Palmer PD, but they've also helped us out the 4th of July parade by creating or providing traffic control. And then in the meantime, when they meet, they do training on topics of traffic stops, use of force, crash reconstruction, crime scene, or kind of radio communication, and just kind of give them that introductory field of what law enforcement's all about. Again, I apologize if some of this is redundant. It just means this important to me is that we took a vested interest into crisis intervention training, where we have a couple instructors through the PD that can teach this, and then we try to host with ourselves, with the partners, with AST twice a year. I host it at the PD as we get as many people as we possibly can. There's been an initiative to get every department or every personnel in the department CIT certified. We are still working on this. What does happen, or in the backside of things, that it takes a lot to get an academy going throughout the week with a lot of people, organizations, organizing, and getting the instructors up here up to speed. So I'm anticipating that usually AST will do a class in October, and then we'll do one in April. We couldn't do this without the Mat-Su Health Foundation. They are a huge supporter to this, and we have a great working relationship. And I was just last week was able to move forward with the initiative that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, which is introduce a youth CIT program. And what that there's no curriculum that's national, and it's kind of self-developed. But what I envision and what I see is that a lot of these officers will go to calls that are dealing with kids that are underage. And given the backfield of kind of the experience that I have on a personal note, is that if we can teach officers to identify some behaviors with kids that may trigger a flag of how our response could possibly change by identifying if a kid is autistic, nonverbal, or having some kind of a behavioral or mental health issue, it could change on the way that we perceive or how we respond to that. So we're creating sending an officer over to the East Coast here in the next month to go to a UCIT program, and hopefully that he'll be able to bring back some curriculum that we can start teaching this to the officers out here in the valley so that they have the tools when they respond to kids that are dealing with a crisis or a mental health issue, that they'll be able to identify, and hopefully the outcomes will be better than what I have seen with other agencies across the lower 48 in the past. So that's my big push. What I've been wanting to do is kind of get that up and running and get professionals in here and teach the officers kind of what to look for and some of the cues and some of the things that would pick up on how we can maybe change our reaction to things. SROs will be kicking back to school this week. They're excited. I think that they've been chomping at the bit probably since school was let out to get back into the schools. As we know, SRO Peterson's, he's at Wasilla High School. He covers the middle school, Iditarod and Burchell. SRO Apollo will cover Reddington and Denina out there. And then SRO Gerke will cover the Houston and middle school. And then he has a few Big Lake Elementary, I think he stops in. So they're all kind of getting geared up, ready to go back this week. While they were off this summer, they attended the NASRO, which is the National Association of School Resource Officers. Down, I believe this one was in Dallas from July 6th to 11th. I've personally been there. It's a good program. It's good to have that training, that continuation, that refresher, that networking of kind of moving forward. But here on the slide, it talks about some of the classes that Officer Peterson's taught, about drugs and alcohol in the schools. He had multiple public appearances, Youth 360 tour, then the freshman, same with Opala, the National DEC, which is Drug and Endangered Children. He's the point of contact for the Youth Fire Starter Program, and then and he's one of my main CIT developing instructors. Officer Gerke went out to Meadow Lakes and did the bike rodeo where Walmart, Safe Alaskans, Mat-Su Trails and Parks were able to provide 70 participants with 8 bicycles, 33 helmets, 2 bike bells, 2 bike locks, and reflectors for blinking safety lights, and they had a great time out there, and we were able to provide some education to the public and have a good time with the kids. Just to kind of recap a little bit, we had officers that participated in the Law Enforcement and Officer Memorial. That was on May 11th through the 17th. That was in Anchorage, and then we had our own memorial or remembrance out at the PD. One of the things that kind of want to just introduce now is that you guys have heard me talk about before is that our record management system, which is our report writing system through Central Square, is, I'll flat out say, is absolutely the worst company I've ever had to deal with in my life. I'm looking at a replacement. We have got some demos scheduled, and I'm anticipating by next budget cycle that you guys will be able to see a program that will be able to kind of meet the needs of where we're going, where we're at, and just be able to get rid of Central Square. I'm not a fan. We've had multiple issues with this company, even after having our IT specialist build it, break it, and do whatever. It's poor customer service, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. They know this. I've had discussions with the people at Central Square, and they do know that I'm looking on. But since then, I can't really change that until we have some demos, and given the dollar amount, it needs to be tried out and go from there. But what I ended up doing is that there's a police called Police Narratives AI, and what this does is that my job, what I'd like to do is to reduce the amount of time the officers are working on reports. And this is not your typical AI, and I think everybody kind of, myself included, when I read it, was AI, to populate into something that's computer generated or not actual. This is the only program that is CJIS clearance, which is the Criminal Justice Information System. That's how we operate. That's how we get our security clearance. And what this does is basically this is a very glorified transcription service with some AI things in there. You can't mess it up. You can't, proofread it, but our IT specialist was able to find this. We demoed it with 10 officers. We saw the results of it, and on about 80% of the reports that we see was able to increase their amount of report writing time considerably, where we were able to buy it with a handful to kind of continue on for the year and see how this is gonna go. So it's a constant evaluation. This kind of goes about my, my replacement of the RMS system. It's kind of one of those things where, we keep trying to kick the can down the road and we're still having the same problems. And it is time to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and just kind of move forward with a whole new system. So those demos are currently taking place to see what it can do and what it can do. Some ongoing training that we've been doing since April and continue to do throughout the year would be crime analysis, drone operations. We do our constant firearms training where we just did our annual or our quarterly firearms training. Again, the CIT Academy, we were able to ask for and get approved for the TASER 10. And so we're doing the transition training on that. Methods of instruction is getting our officers certified instructors in the state. And I'm just going through some of these. Pepper ball, which is a non-lethal, our vehicle pit and pin, school, NASRO, just your typical everyday SWAT, and K9 training, impaired driving conference, and just kind of highlighting some of the other ones. New and upcoming is that we signed an MOU with APD after we were invited to get our detectives onto the Internet Crimes Against Children. It's an online reporting system to document cases. So with that partnership, we'll be able to kind of talk back and forth and work together on our detectives to work together with APD and a lot of the crimes that may kind of bleed out here from Anchorage and vice versa. One of the things that kind of coordinated was on October 11th, we'll be doing a very large active shooter scenario that will incorporate, other than historically we've just been able to do isolated with the PD, 1-day training to work on tactics. On this one is going to introduce a large scenario to train on the abilities that brings in AST, the Matsu Borough EMS, the school district, Red Cross, and MCT are all kind of taking part in this full day activity that's going to take over at Iditarod. We are working on the scenario, so we'll have more to share when it gets closer to that. One of the things that's happening in youth court is Krista is retiring, and we are going to be looking for her replacement, but she is going to be retiring in September, and working on posting that position to NeoGov here soon. But just here, there are some highlights that you guys can look at in a little bit about how many hours in juvenile offenders that provided 209 hours of community service. Had over 300 referrals from DJJ, and again, I'm just highlighting a very extensive amount of history that she's been able to do over the course of her time here at the PD. And last but not least, I know I'm kind of talking a lot, is that these are an update of our CIP projects, which we are very fortunate of, is that the 5,000 gallon fuel tank is up and running. That has been a nice add-on. And the perimeter fencing minus the gates have been installed and continuously working on. So those projects are moving forward and kind of going from there. So that's all I have for my update. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Perfect.
No questions from Borough.
Thank you, Chief. We will now act on resolution serial number 25-26 and accompanying AM 25-43. But first, I will relinquish the gavel to Council Member Velock and exit the dais in council chambers.
Madam Clerk, please read resolution serial number 25-26 and AM 25-43 by title.
Thank you. Resolution serial number 2526, authorizing the transfer of funds within an accounting fund in the amount of $23,539.51 from the Construction Services Sports Complex Building account to the Construction Services Turf Replacement account for additional materials and grading for the turf replacement project at the Menard Sports Center, and authorizing the transfer of unused funds back to the Construction Services Sports Center Complex Building account. AM number 2543, contract award to Field Turf Northwest Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $348,539.51 for the Menard Center Turf Replacement project.
Is there a motion to approve resolution serial number 2526 and its accompanying AM number 2543?
I move to approve the 25-26.
Okay, is there a second?
Graham seconds.
To clarify, council, that's resolution 2526. Did you also want to move the accompanying 2543? Is that the intent?
Yes.
Thank you.
It has been moved by Councilmember Schmidt and seconded by Councilmember Graham to approve resolution serial number 25-26 and accompanying AM number 2543. Is there discussion? Councilmember Crafton.
Thank you, Ms. Velak. If I could to Scott here, this feasibility study that we're doing on the Menard Center, wasn't one of the questions on there or topics expansion to the turf and the consideration that we wanted a full-size field instead of just a partial field?
Scott Bell, Recreational Services Director. Concept behind the feasibility was overall needs of the community, of which it could have been a potential full-size turf facility. It could be a hard court, it could be event center, it could be another sheet of ice. And so the feasibility study will tell us kind of what the need is from the community.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? All right, hearing none, is the council ready to vote?
Do you want to do a roll call, or is there any objection?
Yeah, is
I have
there any
I have
objection?
objections, so yes, please.
Okay, I guess we're ready to vote.
Okay, this is roll call vote, on the adoption of resolution 2526 and AM number 2543. Councilmember Cottle.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Yes.
Councilmember Crafton.
No?
Councilmember Velak.
Yes.
The motion passes with Councilmembers Cottle, Graham, Schmidt, and Velak in support. Councilmember Crafton opposed, and Councilmember Rubio recused on a conflict of interest, financial interest. So can we, do you want to get her back in the room?
Go get her.
Yeah. Thank you.
We are now at public hearing. There are 3 ordinance scheduled for public hearing. Madam Clerk, please read the first ordinance.
Thank you. Ordinance serial number 2522, amending the official zoning map of the city of Wasilla to change the zoning from rural residential to commercial for lots 1 through 14 of Coring subdivision, Fred Nelson subdivision, tract 11, and Township 17 North, Range 1 West, Section 3, Lot 13, Wasilla, Alaska, for an effective date.
The public hearing on ordinance number serial number 25-22 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Kim Kalmbach, and I want to give you a little history of what's going on and why we're asking for this. So the Coring subdivision was developed by the Coring family in 1982, and the family owned and rented out trailer houses. And as majority owner, they controlled the homeowners association. As the lots were sold, commercial uses took over the area. In 2023, a new board took over, and frankly, we inherited a mismanaged organization. No reserves to the water system, delinquent tax filings, delinquent dues. Since then, we've brought all filings current and reduced delinquent accounts to 1. Today, 7 lots host full-time businesses. This is within the subdivision. The area for rezone has 2 parcels outside the subdivision. So mostly automotive repair and carpet cleaning company. Only 4 residential properties within the subdivision remain, 2 on Aspen, 2 on Flag. The 2 on Aspen are operating as business use of home with auto repair signage and multiple vehicles on site. 1 trailer house on Flag is owned by one of the business owners on Flag and was purchased with the intention of converting it to commercial. A new home was built on Flag in 2022, purchased in 2023 in the midst of the existing commercial use. Outside the subdivision, but included in this rezone, is a home built in 1983. The owners didn't sign the petition, but they indicated no objection. They're planning to sell in the next 2 to 3 years. One of the residential properties on Aspen in the subdivision has been cited for 48 city code violations in 2024. We are in continual contact with code enforcement and Wasilla Police to address ongoing thefts and nuisances, and the homeowners association is doing what it can. We are doing something about it. So this rezone is simply the next step in recognizing what's already happening on the ground. Our neighborhood has shifted toward commercial use. While not every owner signed the petition, no one objected, and several voiced verbal support. And I can address, I have 30 seconds, the old code requirements and the new code requirements. And basically, we've met both. The new code, the old code says 51% of the owners, the new code says 51% of the property. And so, like I say, we've met both. We've got parcel owners, 11 out of 16 signed, that's 69. Shall I finish or go? I can go. Okay, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Comments are limited to 3 minutes.
My name is Brian Christofferson. I own the Heaven's Best Carpet Cleaning, and I just wanted to voice to double down on what Kim was saying. Everything that's in there currently, it falls within the purview of a rural residential. However, everything is also moving towards commercial. It's reflective of the rest of the immediate properties farther down. Both ways are all commercial lots, and everything in there is working its way towards commercial. So we're just trying to follow suit and make the development a little bit better, make it look nicer and more fully functional for what's already there. That's really all I had.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole Slavinsky. I'm a wife of one of the property owners. We are in favor of rezoning. Rezoning means fresh eyes, which can be new opportunities and new development. When it comes to new development and new builds, those brings positive change to neighborhoods, whether it's businesses or population growth. As well known, Alaska, especially our city of Wasilla, continues to see substantial growth in population And as the population grows, it makes sense to have these type of changes in order to accommodate that growth, whether it's housing or economic growth through new businesses or new housing opportunities. And with either of these changes, you'll see the care of our roads in that area be prioritized, as with all these aspects, an increase in all owners' property values increase as well, which again can only lead to more opportunities and better growth for the economy of the city of Wasilla. And I'm not entirely sure if I'm allowed to do this, but I did want to see, make a suggestion for the report that the chief of police had done when he was talking about having a comparison for last year's 2024 versus 2025. It would be good to see, or rather add, a population growth comparison, as well as staffing available for each year to get a better per capita viewpoint of the growth and change of the number seen. As well as potentially a budgetary comparison to show the funds available last year in comparison to this year. And a special thanks to those school resource officers. My children attend one of those schools and have nothing but positive experiences and words for the officer there. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. The public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 25-22?
Madam Deputy Mayor, I move ordinance serial number 25-22.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
It has been moved by Councilmember Velock and seconded by Councilmember Crafton to adopt ordinance serial number 25-22. Is there discussion?
Madam Deputy Mayor,
Councilman Crafton?
thank you. If I recall, there was some questions around what happened at the Planning Commission, and Mr. Graham had attended it. I'd be curious to hear what he had to say around what happened at the Planning Commission, or maybe it was our acting planning clerk, to shed some light on it, because I remember there was some talk about trying to, what's the term I'm thinking of, redo the vote on it, because they had questions about, reconsider, thank you. I'd be curious to hear what Mr. Graham had to say about it, though, because I know he had brought up some concerns around it and potentially delaying this another meeting for them to meet on it, so. Mr. Graham, did you have anything else on it?
I do. May I proceed, Madam Deputy Mayor?
Councilman Graham, go ahead.
Thanks. So I, at the Planning Commission meeting, one of the members expressed an interest in moving to reconsider the vote. After consulting with our attorney, reconsideration is not allowed for that action under the Planning Commission, so it's a moot point. So the action of the Planning Commission stands in favor of the rezone.
Thank you, Councilman Graham. Is there further discussion?
Madam Deputy Mayor?
Councilman Crafton?
Thank you. I had a question of clarification here. Looking through the 102-page report that we got here, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here. To help you, it's page 33 of 91, if you're trying to look at where I'm at. It's an email correspondence with our code compliance officer to our planning department, and I was just curious, it looked like part of the reason why this was being done was because somebody was trying to meet code because they were currently out of compliance. I'm not sure if the staff can answer that or not. I'm just kind of curious here.
To Councilmember Crafton, Crystal Nygaard, Acting City Planner. Yeah, this particular part of the city has got specifically one very problematic piece of property right in the back that actually is where the commercial well is for all of those properties. And code enforcement and the police have been very much involved in the investigation on that property because it does limit the subdivision and it does expose them to potentially a water situation. So what we asked Code Compliance to do was to continue to keep us updated. We also see light industrial activity there where you've, I think Kim put it so nicely that we have got a lot of small businesses that have businesses there, and they have some outside vehicles that are present as well. So we tried our best to make sure the public understood that this is what is happening currently, is the commercial activity there.
If I could continue. So, looking at this, we're going from rural residential to commercial. And granted, the map is not wanting to wholly work for me right now, Crystal. I don't know what's going on, but looking at it, we've got the cemetery to one side, a residential neighborhood, and what's considered residential as well to the left of it.
Councilman Kraft, on what page are you on?
No, I'm looking at the zoning map myself on the internet is what
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
looking at
Okay,
here.
thanks.
Page,
But there might be a map somewhere in there.
page, through the chair, page 42 of the packet, or 28 of 91 of the
Okay,
document,
so there you
whichever
go.
you're in.
There's a lot of residential around this area and some pretty high density residential as well. Not to mention we've got the two senior centers really next to it. I mean, we've got a little bit of commercial directly to the north of this area. It really doesn't have a lot of adjoining commercial development next to it. And so I have a slight concern dropping a commercial area right smack in the middle of some residential neighborhoods on a 35-mile-an-hour road. There are multiple residential homes in here, and there was a reason why this was originally zoned as rural residential. It allows for light commercial as well as going down to low-density residential. So changing it to commercial, normally when we've looked at a lot of these rezones in the past, it's a pretty obvious, it's a cut and dry black and white situation where, hey, everything around it is what this zoning is, and so we just want to do this because it matches what's around here. And I can see where we're kind of going, where there is a little bit of commercial development to the other side of, I cannot remember what that street name is, directly north of the neighborhood here, off the top of my head. Most of it is residential. And so I would honestly really caution against this because we do not want to open the door for what the potential that commercial can be. Commercial has a very wide range of capability on what can be developed in a commercial zone. And so do we really want to extend commercial development that far kind of down from the main core of our commercial area right next to a bunch of high density residential zoning on top of a 35-mile-an-hour road? So my vote would be no for this. I understand that the Planning Commission has recommended approving this, but in my eyes, to me, this is not one that wholly benefits the community, especially since it doesn't seem like we've had any input around. Just because they didn't provide input doesn't mean that they're for it or against it. A lot of times people don't see it, in all honesty, don't see the request for input. And so I think the rural residential allows for light commercial development in this area, as well as residential development, which it currently has. So I'd be a no vote for this.
Is there further discussion?
Madam Deputy Mayor, do we know if we did send out any notification to adjoining residents? Maybe just not the ones directly affected, but maybe within so much distance away. Do we know, did we send any notification whatsoever?
Yes, to Councilmember Velock, we sent out 179 property owners within a 1,200-foot radius on June 6th and 32 review agencies on the 13th of June, and it was advertised in the Frontiersman as well.
Deputy Madam Mayor.
Councilman Vilak?
Do we know what kind of responses we got from all those?
Yes, to Councilmember Vilak, we keep all of those comments, and attach them to the actual permit. And we did not receive in writing any that were against the rezone. And then the other thing we took into consideration is for a rezone, it has to be contiguous to another zone of the same. And so it, in our review, it met the criteria.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is council ready to vote? Is there an objection to the motion?
Objection.
Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is on the adoption of ordinance serial number 2522. Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Yes.
Councilmember Crafton.
No.
Councilmember Vilak.
Yes.
Councilmember Rubio.
Yes.
Councilmember Cottle.
Yes.
The motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2522 passes with council members Cottle, Graham, Schmidt, Vilak, and Rubio in support. Councilmember Crafton opposed.
Madam Clerk, please read the next ordinance by title.
Thank you. Ordinance serial number 2523, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by appropriating grant funds from the Federal Aviation Administration in the amount of $361,411 and matching funds in the amount of $19,022 from the general fund balance for the Wasilla Municipal Airport Perimeter Fencing Project.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 25-23 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person.
Council and Acting Mayor. My name is Tim Johnson, Wasilla City resident. I'm in favor of this. The one question that I have, and I realize this is not a question and answer session, so I'm gonna phrase it as an assumption. I'm assuming that the fence replacement here is going to be of sufficient height and strength to keep moose out of the AOA, or aircraft operating area. Rather than just putting up a fence, we want to make sure it's moose proof. Nothing worse than a pilot landing in an airplane and seeing a moose in the area. And it happens more frequently than you'd like. That's my only comment to this, so please consider that in your design. Thank you.
The public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial 25-23?
Madam Deputy Mayor, move ordinance serial number 2523.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It has been moved by Councilmember Crafton and seconded by Councilmember Schmidt to adopt ordinance serial number 25-23. Is there discussion?
Madam Deputy Mayor,
Councilman Crafton?
if we could go to Eric, I'd appreciate Mr. Johnson's question answered. I assume so, but why not give us a summary, tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. Eric Shaw, Public Works Director. So, yes, the fence design is to withstand moose and driven snow. We've had about 1,000 feet of fence fall down because of it running through the marsh. So this is a improved strength fence that will resist the freeze thaw effects that we see in that area. And we look forward to having a fence that doesn't let moose go underneath it or over the top of it. So we appreciate the support of the council to approve this, and we'll get cracking on fixing that fence.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. Madam Clerk, please read the next ordinance by title.
Thank you. Ordinance serial number 2524, correcting the allocation of funds within the adopted fiscal year 2026 budget.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 25-24 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. The public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 25-24?
Council?
I move ordinance serial number 2524.
Is there a second?
Councilmember Velock, I second that.
It has been moved by Councilman Crafton and seconded by Councilman Velock to adopt ordinance serial number 25-24. Is there discussion?
Madam Deputy Mayor,
Councilman Crafton?
thank you. First, sorry, I was waiting for public comment for some reason and just out of curiosity here, is this kind of just a clerical error on what happened here? Because I know looking through this, it seems like almost when the account numbers got put into the amendments, that maybe the account numbers were put in wrong. And I know we as council members, it looks like a few of these are mine and Ms. Cottle's as well. But again, these are typed versions, so I'm wondering if there was the numbers were transposed or something like that. I guess what happened here to cause something like this?
Always forget to turn this on. Nope, working. To Councilmember Crafton through Deputy Mayor Rubio. What happened here was, in essence, it was a clerical error on the finance department when they were actually doing the ordinance, whereas 16 and 18 were put into the wrong fund in the ordinance itself. So when we were actually tying the amendments to the budget, we discovered that these were in the wrong funds. And we couldn't correct them ourselves because they crossed accounting funds between capital projects fund, the roads fund, and the sewer capital fund. So we had to come back to the council to correct these errors.
And that was gonna be my next question, was why was this having to come back before the council? So because it crossed departments, you guys couldn't just go, oops, this is our bad here, let's fix this and send it to us in an IM, letting us know that this is what happened. It was something we actually have to approve. And so, again, I'm only getting this, it more so kind of looks like a snippet of some of these numbers here. Two of them look like they're going up in cost. So is this an overall, are we seeing an overall change to our cost, or is it most, again, just because the numbers are being moved? You know, oh, this 100,000 accidentally got put here and it's supposed to be over here instead. So our budget amount isn't gonna go up and down at all?
To Councilmember Crafton through Deputy Mayor Rubio, that's exactly correct. That since it crossed accounting funds, if it would have been in the same fund, we wouldn't have had the issue. But since it was appropriations in essence through the budget ordinance is why we had to come back. But this does not change the FY26 budget ordinance in total at all.
Okay, thank you.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. Please note that this is not a question and answer period. Speakers may be referred to administration and items raised may be taken under advisement. Our first one is Timothy Johnson. Please begin your testimony by stating your first and last name, and if you are a city resident, comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Timothy Johnson, city resident. Assistant, what would be your title? I'm sorry. your title?
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor, I'm council, I'm sorry, I messed that up. I want to thank the city. Last time I asked for some brush and trees to be removed from the corner of Susitna and Depot Road corner so we could see around it. That was done. I want to thank you very much for that. However, I'm really waiting for a stop sign at Susitna Avenue at that same point, because we still have a problem with speeders coming around that corner, and we're because it is a very tight corner, we're still having people speeding around the corner and then missing the corner and breaking down the new pavement there. Number two, I visited Newcomb Park today, and I really again request for the second year in a row that we fill in the holes in front of the benches and other little holes. The people that I talked to today were sort of worried about that because the kids are playing right there in front of the benches. It is a nice, strong cement corner there. We're just waiting for some kid to scrape or get their head bashed in because we've got a 18-inch hole right in front of the bench. Number three, I would very much like to see you and request a public comment period prior to reopening the tunnel going to Newcomb Park. Now, I realize that the city has repainted and cleaned the tunnel, got the pump to work, so the tunnel is now ready for use. However, I think that we should have public comment as to how we can manage the tunnel so that we don't have a repeat of the crimes, the sexual assaults, and the homeless people that went into the tunnel the last time the tunnel was opened. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Dan Fleckenstein, please begin your testimony by stating your first and last name, and if you are a city resident, comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Dan Fleckenstein. I'm the president of Mat-Su Softball Association, and I'm not a city resident. I wanted to swing by and give an update in regards to our management agreement for the Bumpus Softball Complex. Our 41st season is winding down with August waning away quickly. Most of our leagues are ending within the next week or so. We've had a total of 56 teams participating at the ballpark this summer, and we have games on Monday through Thursday nights from about 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. We have roughly 1,000 people using the park on a weekly basis. We hosted 2 major tournaments this summer so far. The MVFCU Memorial Tournament over Memorial Weekend was a great success for our co-ed division. And then in July, we had a men's championship tournament called the Mat-Su Showdown, which also was very well attended. We had about 32 teams from around the state and a couple thousand people using the ballpark there the third week in July. In the past weekend, we also hosted a youth girls fast pitch tournament, and we had 8 teams from the 16U division utilize the ballpark. They had food trucks and all kinds of different activities going on in conjunction with the tournament, and they had a great time. So far this year, Mat-Su Softball Association members have spent about $12,000 in repairs and upgrades to the ballpark, including repairing storm damage to the fencing, infield dirt improvements. As the wind blows our infield dirt away, we have to keep constantly buying more and replenishing that, which we've been doing. We also painted all the bleachers and the main concessions building at the ballpark, as well as we cut brush on the outside periphery of 2 of the fields that face the woods and clear that area up so people can walk back there and enhance the walking path. We also graded the parking lot, and so far this year we spent almost $10,000 in portable bathroom rentals. We're very much looking forward to projects that are on tap for this fall, including improvements to our drainage when we have storms, particularly during the summer. We have an instance of flooding on the fields, which causes rain cancellations, of which we've had a number of them this summer with as much rain as we've been having. And we've been told that that work will be proceeding shortly as soon as we get done with our season here in a couple weeks. We're also very excited for the installation of bathrooms as well as improvements to our parking lot. And we very much appreciate your support for those projects that are coming up. Just wanted to extend a great thank you from the members of Mat-Su Softball Association in partnering with us at that facility. We really appreciate the ability to use that facility, and we're doing our best job we can do to keep it in high standard and make sure that it's the best softball complex in the state to host adult softball leagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Christopherson. Adam, I'm gonna slaughter it. Is it, I can't read it. Is it Brokey?
Good evening.
I apologize. Please
It's okay.
begin your testimony by stating your first and last name, and if you are a city resident, comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Adam Burby, yes, I'm just outside the city on KGB. My concern is the sales tax that we have in Wasilla. I know it was started in 91 at a max of 2%, and then it was bumped up to 3% to support the new police station. And then it dropped back to 2.5%. So why did it not go back to 2%? And the biggest concern is, why do we have it at all? Why are we paying, why do we have a sales tax and we're paying on money that we've already taxed? That's already been taxed. And if somebody can answer that for me in the future, that would be great. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Nicole Slowinski? Okay. So we are now at consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the items for approval under the consent agenda by title.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. We have regular meeting minutes, City Council, July 14th and July 28th, 2025. We have one introduction, recommended public hearing on August 25th, 2025. Ordinance serial number 2526, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget to accept and appropriate up to $12 million in Federal Aviation Administration grant funds for Taxiway K and related improvements at the Wasilla Municipal Airport, authorizing the mayor to sign the grant agreement and transferring $4,100,000 from the general fund balance to the airport fund to provide the required city match. Our resolutions were pulled, so we have 4 action memorandums. The first is AM number 2542, contract award to Tutka LLC in the amount of $153,400 for the Bumpus Recreation Area Restrooms Installation Project. AM number 2544, contract award to Alaska Permanent Capital Management Company in the amount of $33,048 for investment management services. AM number 2545, approving a term contract task order amendment to HDL Engineering in the amount of $213,644 for engineering and construction administration services related to completing the airport Apron E expansion project and additional design of Taxiway K at the Wasilla Municipal Airport. And lastly, AM number 2546, approving a contract amendment to Neeser Construction Incorporated in the amount of $428,626.55 for electric gate installation, completing the airport Apron E expansion project at the Wasilla Municipal Airport.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
Madam Deputy Mayor, I move the consent agenda as read.
Is there a second?
Deputy Mayor, I second that.
It has been moved by Councilmember Crafton and seconded by Councilmember Velock to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. There is no unfinished business, but we do have new business.
Madam Deputy Mayor, can we take a 5-minute recess?
No, but yes. We are on the recess at 7:09.
mayor to execute an agreement with Concession Solutions LLC for lease space in the Curtis D. Menard Memorial Sports Center in the amount of $550 per month or $6,600 for 12 months, July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Is there a motion to approve resolution serial number 25-27?
Graham moves 2527.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
It has been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Crafton to adopt serial number 25-27. Is there discussion?
Madam Deputy Mayor.
Councilman Graham?
Thanks. The reason I pulled these was I'm just curious as to what the rent has been, you know, over the years that we've had the Menard Center. It seems to me we've had the same rent for several years, both for the concession space and also for serial 2528, the office space there. If we could just, if I could just have Scott talk about that, if he knows that. Has there been any increase, or has it stayed steady over the years, or what the history of that is? And if he has to say he doesn't know and is going to look it up, that's fine, but that's why I pulled those two.
Scott Bell, Recreational Services Director, through Madam Deputy Mayor, to Councilmember Graham. So Concession Solutions, that space, when we had the previous vendor in there, the rent was $450 a month. They had vacated the space. It sat empty for approximately 9 months. Concession Solutions came in at $500 a month last year, and this is a $50 increase for them for this year. And then on 2528, the Wasilla Youth Soccer was, I believe it was $700 or $750 last year. It had been that for many, many years. But we brought them up last year to $800, and then we are looking to renew them at $800 again.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted.
Well, it's late now. I'm gonna, yeah.
So, yes. Madam Clerk, please read the next item by title.
Thank you. Resolution serial number 2528, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Wasilla Youth Soccer Association for lease space in the Curtis D. Menard Memorial Sports Center in the amount of $800 per month or $9,600 for 12 months, July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Is there a motion to approve resolution serial number 25-28?
Madam Deputy Mayor?
Graham moves 2528.
Is there a second? Schmidt?
Go ahead, Martin.
I'll second that.
It has been moved by Councilman Graham and seconded by Councilman Schmidt to adopt ordinance serial number 25-28. Is there discussion?
My questions were answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Graham. Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. We are now at audience comments, which is a time, oops, Madam Clerk, please read the item under communication by title.
Thank you. Planning Commission meeting minutes, July 8th, 2025.
Thank you. We are now at audience comments, which is the time for members for the public to share their views with the council. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council administration. You know the drill. Please state your name.
Deputy Mayor, Council, in the consent agenda, you approved ordinance serial 2526, which will bring this to a public hearing on August 25th. Is what I request is that you add to the package the plots and drawings for the project so people really understand what it is that this $12 million is going to buy. Right now, the package just gives us numbers. That's great. Let's talk about what the project actually is. Thank you.
Tim, can you state your name for the record?
Tim Johnson.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, we are now closing public comment. We are now at mayor, clerk, attorney, and council comments. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Councilmember Rubio. Due to some just unexpected circumstances, I will not be joining the council in Barrow. And so I thank you for the opportunity, but we'll see you in December for AML, and then hopefully I'll be traveling with you in February for the winter meeting. We will see you all here next regular council meeting, August 25th.
Madam Attorney?
No comment, Madam.
Councilmember Cottle?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I have no additional comments tonight.
Councilmember Graham?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor, and greetings from Barrow, Reykjavik, Alaska, here at the top of the world, northernmost outpost here in the United States of America. We're here for Alaska Municipal League, which is, for those of you not familiar, is a meeting of the 165 different local governments around Alaska. We're here to discuss legislative issues that have arisen, in the past state legislative session and also with federal legislation. So we're here to bounce ideas off of other people and see how things are going to work together on statewide issues, not on local issues. But it's certainly our pleasure to be here. I know we have the mayor is here, who is the vice president of AML. I'm here as the past president of AML. And Kathy Cottle is here as a board member of AML. So Wasilla is well represented here. Also, at the last city council meeting, I moved will of the council to find out about the legalities of shutting down the tunnel that Mr. Johnson talked about in his comments there. I don't know if the attorney is there or not. We just have voice. We don't have video. But was there any progress, any information that you could share on our ability to actually shut down that tunnel and what the consequences of that would be?
I don't have any information on that. I think that there was a comment thrown out, but I don't think that we, so that might be something for the council to take action on, or for
Public Works, Eric?
on
Yeah.
the legalities? Okay.
Well, I'll explain what I've been doing.
Great.
Councilmember Graham, so what I've initiated is conversation with DOT and the railroad, because they are the ones that had its creation, along with the city back in the early 2000s when the project started. The existence right now is to prevent trespass across the railroad and keep people safe that should not be crossing the tracks in the way that they do. It's been a safety concern for both the DOT and the railroad. So we're working on the language that was agreed to in the MOA that was created from that first project. So I've reached out to both of my counterparts, and we're pulling together the records as we have them, and then they're also pulling together their requirements for the safety protocols for that crossing, so we can show the reason it was created and the reason that they feel as governmental agencies the existence of it should remain. But I'll have more information as we pull that in and have a memo from them, and also share it with our legal representatives.
Yes, and I would remind.
Okay, I look forward to that. Thank you, Eric, for that update, and thanks, Madam Clerk, for getting us able to call in. We don't have cell service up here. If you do try and contact us while we're here, we do have the ability to text, but we don't have cell service. None of us have the ability to call in other than on a landline. So if you need something, let us know. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.
Holly, did you want to say something?
It's just a small thing, just a reminder, if we do end up with any language regarding legalities or how they, we'll make sure that the city's legal department sort of weighs in and make sure we're happy with what we're agreeing with.
Thank you. Councilmember Velock?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Really no comment. I will be heading to Barrow tomorrow to join Stu, the mayor, and Kathy, so that's about it. Thanks.
Councilmember Crafton?
Thank you. Two questions. This one might be to Eric. I think you handle this department, but also might be to the chief there. I was at the police department here this summer a couple times, and some of the weeds in the flower beds were like 3 feet tall. Did we ever get those taken care of this year? Have we cleaned that up a little bit?
Yeah, through the mayor. It is Parks and Properties that maintains those beds, and so we've been catching up. The mowing has been unusually high this year because of the rain that we've been getting. So we're a little behind on those beds, but we do have a maintenance team that's getting to those.
Okay.
And the chief can confirm they've been out there. So.
Okay, yeah, thank you. It was a little sad to see the state of the flower beds at the police department. So, and then second question was, not sure if our clerk or attorney would answer this one. In regards to Title 16, in the clerk's note there, I just wasn't sure, more so just clarification. It says that the ordinance takes place 30 days after adoption by the council, which happened on July 14th, but then we also need approval, we need a resolution approved by the planning commission, so it's not after the council does it, it's after the planning commission, whichever happens later. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. Sorry, is this on? Yes.
So assuming we have a resolution and assuming the planning commission meets on the 26th, we'll have approval in late September, is what you're saying.
That they approve it, but yes. I think that there is on the agenda for the August 26th meeting, there is the ordinance, or the resolution putting forth approval.
So that goes to another question then now. So if they say no, does it come back before the council then? Because technically they don't have the authority to change code, and basically by them saying no, they've made a codification decision, is what that sounds like.
I think if they say no, it'll come back in front of the council to basically override that decision. Yeah. So council has the authority to change the effective date based on the planning commission. Planning commission is it's a very unique body in that you can give them authority, or in essence, over legislation. And they're the one body that, for example, the public can't initiate certain things that have to go before the planning commission, because they're not, even the public and the voters are not allowed to usurp their roles. So it's a very interesting commission. But yes, so that will come back. I'm not sure, we have gone, one of the things I know that your administration has done, the acting planner has walked them through all of the changes as they've been made. So they are very familiar with the amendments, the 30+ amendments that were proposed. So this is not going to be sprung upon them. I don't think that anyone's anticipating a denial given their involvement, but you never know.
Thank you. That's all for tonight.
Councilmember Schmidt?
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Madam Deputy. I appreciate you.
Thank you, and back to me. Councilmember Cottle and Graham, are you still online?
Yes, ma'am.
I need to know the weather before I get on the plane tomorrow. You better tell me it's nice.
Temperatures will be around 40 at night and high 40s in the day.
It'll be good enough.
Okay, I'm a team player. I'm getting on it. Velock and I are getting on. Thank you. And then the passport book. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm excited to get that around town and get everybody doing that. There is no executive session this evening, so we'll move directly to adjournment. And with no
Madam
further
Deputy Mayor.
business at hand.
Sorry, can I add one more plug to the passport?
Sure.
I just want to say thank you, Scott. I've been asking for these for a while, and though they came a little late this year, if you haven't seen them, you still got enough summer left over. I know I'm going to be collecting a few hundred from Scott and getting them out to some businesses and stuff throughout the valley. So get these, use these. They're a lot of fun. And Scott and I have already discussed, as well as I've talked with the clerk, we're going to do better next year and hopefully have these in our hands by like the 1st of May next year. So definitely get out and use the Parks Passport. It's a really awesome way to get your kids out in the community and playing in parks. So thank you for them, Scott.
Madam Deputy Mayor. So we should have a public announcement of the distribution, probably Thursday or Friday. Menard Sports Center, the library, Public Works desk, and museum will be pickup points. So we will have those ready for distribution with the public announcement by the end of this week.
Awesome, thank you, Scott. With no further business at hand, I'm adjourning the meeting unless an objection is raised. Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 7:30.